If there's one thing I will always hate, it's a fool who tries to sound like the smartest person in the room. They spend their time getting clowned on by everybody, but when they think it's their time to shine, they speak and they sound utterly dumb. So let me paint the scene for everybody. A cop gets shot in DC.
This will be a very brief statement. Our officers were in the area of the 1400 block of Quincy Street, Northwest, around 9 o'clock p.m. They observed an individual. This individual, he appeared to be very suspicious in terms of his behavior. Our officers attempted to make contact with this person in the 1300 block of Spring Road. As the officers attempted to make contact with this person, he pulled a firearm, fired several shots at our officers, wounding one of our officers. That officer has been taken to an area hospital where he's currently being treated. The suspect in that case, our courageous officers gave chase to this person after the officer was shot. They chased the person to the area of the 1400 block of Quincy Place, and that's where we're focusing our attention right now. We're asking the public to please avoid that area. Our SWAT team is active right now. We're currently conducting a search for this person. We're asking anyone who has information related to this incident to please give us a call on 202-727-9099.
Can you tell us a little bit about the officer's injuries? Is he expected to be okay?
His injuries appear to be non-life-threatening at this time. I'm here dealing with this, but I want to get to the hospital and check on our officer.
And you're pretty sure the suspect is holed up in an apartment building?
We're not certain right now, and again, we're asking people to please avoid that area. We're meticulously searching that area. No, we're not clearly sure exactly what happened. We know this person was displaying some behavior that brought the officers, that really kind of got the officers' attention when they attempted to contact him. Before they could contact him, he started firing shots at these officers. So again, I just want to ask for the public's prayers, also ask for the public to just please avoid this area. We'll be out here for a while until we find the person responsible for this.
Did the officers return fire?
It does not appear that officers return fire. Thank you so much.
People are mourning, comrades are sad, families trying to figure out what happened. It's a sad situation, and in walks, of all people, Black Lives Matter in DC to let the world know, let's not jump to conclusions. Let's wait till we have all the information. Isn't that what y'all tell us? Oh yeah, and that he had a gun because cops carry guns. Will the media post a picture and list every mistake they've made since kindergarten? This isn't to say these scenarios represent what happened tonight, but it does explain our skepticism, interest in details, and highlights the difference in how people talk and act when an officer is hurt versus when they hurt a black person. No one asks what the cop did wrong. This is the point we've been making for months. Look at the reaction and coverage tonight. Tear-jerker press conferences and proclamations of heroes coming soon. Imagine if people knew these folks' names. Being black in DC is more dangerous than any job. And they put this picture up of this list of names that have been done in by police officers, but put a pin in that because somebody else is going to deal with that for me. But don't you find it interesting that this group called BLM in DC, Black Lives Matter DC, whatever they call themselves, is saying that, hey, this cop got shot? Guess what? We need to wait for all the facts to come out. We need to wait for more information to come forward. We can't just sit here and assume that these cops are heroes. And if you do that, you obviously have a bias against black people. You don't see the reactions black people get when they get shot by police. And it's interesting because at first I was like, I don't see what's the matter with this. This is what I say. I tell everybody with all these random 15-second clips I see, stay in the middle. Leave your hot button reaction out of it because you don't want to stand on that. And then when the facts come out, you turn out to be the dumbass who said all this random shit trying to make a point against somebody else. But what's funny is that I spent just 10 minutes doing a little bit of research and digging, and I have some reactions of people who have been upset that a cop shot a black person, and something about a few of these reactions spoke to me and how dumb these tweets sounded. Black teenage girl named Ma'Khia Bryant was killed because a police officer immediately decided to shoot her multiple times in order to break up a knife fight. Demand accountability, fight for justice, hashtag Black Lives Matter. As we breathed a collective sigh of relief today, a community in Columbus felt the sting of another police shooting as Columbus police killed an unarmed 15-year-old black girl named Ma'Khia Bryant. Another child lost, another hashtag justice for Ma'Khia Bryant. Ma'Khia Bryant being fat matters. The violence that young fat black girls experienced contributed to her death, and if you don't understand why, y'all need to start cracking open some books on fat phobia. Teenagers have been having fights, including fights involving knives, for eons. We don't need police to address these situations by showing up to the scene and using a weapon against one of the teenagers. Y'all need help, and I mean that sincerely. Everyone should be frightened that the ruling white elite have done such a thorough, successful job of not only disconnecting us from the means of basic self-sufficiency, but also convincing us we need armed white officers to manage our children and community. It's just a little bit odd that after all this time and all these random people grandstanding to try to fight for Black lives and trying to talk over a bunch of people who actually have the information and have to sort through it and see what's true and what's not, it's funny that now, once it's the opposite side, you have to come out of thin air and say something snarky. You have to talk down to somebody who was injured in doing their job as opposed to tweeting like you do and think that that's the wisest thing to tweet. Yes, we should, as people, when we see these random clips, wait for information, but it's funny that now, when it's your time to point the finger and say, what are you all doing? You don't know anything about this person. How can you claim them a hero? We don't know if they were attacking that person. How could we sit there and label them a hero? It's funny because when every other time it was a black person on the other end of the stick, nobody took the time to say, hey, let's wait. Let's decide if this is something we're going to actually put our feet in. No, it was, oh, the oppression of black people. White cops are always targeting us. Cops are bad. Abolish police. We don't need cops. Neener, neener, neener. But now it's time to take that pen out because I'm not an officer. And these names interest me because one of them was confirmed to be actually wrong in how they depicted this, because these names aren't a bunch of innocent human beings and all they did was just stand there and be black, and then a white person saw them and said, oh, I hate black people, and shoot them. No. But I'm not going to explain that because I don't have the expertise. I have internalized racism. I hate black people. I hate black women. I hate black children in your mind. So I found a clip of somebody explaining all these names.
Now here's another reason of why I don't like the organization Black Lives Matter. For those of you guys that don't know, another police shooting occurred in the city of DC. And one of the civil rights activists that's a member of Black Lives Matter had the nerve to say this. This is the point we've been making for months. Look at the reaction and coverage tonight. Tearjerker press conferences and proclamations of heroes coming soon. Imagine if people knew these folks' name. Being black in DC is more dangerous than any job. This is a list of names and reasons of why these people were shot. Terrence Parker was killed under domestic violence disturbance when he pulled a gun on a police officer. Vito Hall was shot while holding a woman hostage with a rifle. Antoine Gilmore was killed in an altercation with police where he had a handgun. George Watson pointed a replica airsoft rifle at officers when he was killed by police. Darren Barnes fled the scene of a double homicide and pointed a gun at police and was subsequently shot. Rashid Carroll drove a car at police officers, injuring one of them while he was on the run for parole violations of robbery. Jaron Wimbush was armed with a knife and a gun and fired it at police when he was shot. DeAndre Johnson fought with the police during a search warrant and grabbed for the officer's gun. And Natongo Robinson was shot by police while armed with a gun and fleeing the scene with their police officers trapped in the back of his car. So there you have it, guys. I went out there and did all the homework for you. I went out there and discovered why all these people were shot or killed by police. What's the difference between the list I just gave you and the police officers that are shot or killed in the line of duty? Well, the difference is that those police officers are going out there every single day, putting their life in harm's way to help, to save people they don't even know. The list of people I just gave you, every single one of those people put themselves in a position that caused those officers to use force against them. A lot of times, those people were also putting other people in harm's way by either committing robberies, doing domestic violence, or some type of other violent crime against them. Let's not get this confused, and we got to start looking into this research ourselves so that way we know when we're trying to be led astray by organizations like Black Lives Matter.
I couldn't imagine wasting my time going into Photoshop, typing in a date, a name, and them getting shot by a police officer with no other details about it and posting it online as a means to have a got you on an officer who got shot and people trying to be concerned and mourning that officer getting shot and having it destroyed in a minute and 55 seconds. Do you know how pathetic that is? Do you know that speaks to your character that you're just posting that and not giving people all the information. You didn't take the time to give people the information they would be looking for in a matter of saying, hey, well, it's kind of true. We aren't waiting for more information about this cop and this Black Lives Matter organization right here. They seem trustworthy enough. All they did was put names in Photoshop and post it, so obviously they know what they're talking about. No, you sound and look dumb. And what's even better and hilarious is that those tweets I read, I had to pull them from the New York Post because I can't find them on Twitter anymore because holy when you say something that dumb and you don't get the reaction you expected, you're gonna tuck your twirl in your ass and you're gonna run because that's what the fools do. When a fool tries to sound smart, it's hilarious and embarrassing. It's hilarious because who in their right mind is going to listen to you after all this time you spent grandstanding? And it's embarrassing because when you sit there and say, let's wait for all the facts and evidence, you post a picture that had no facts or evidence on it. How pathetic can you be? How much of a sad life must whoever run that Twitter account live for that to be your hallmark, for that to be something people are supposed to see and think, oh my God, you're right. I'm not gonna care about this officer. I don't care what they were doing. They obviously hurt black people. And yeah, being black is dangerous in DC and no evidence is needed here. It is embarrassing. But because I know somebody's gonna say, you're just hating. You have hatred of black people. You hate black women, internalized racism, and all these buzzwords that you think makes a point because your brain is the size of a nut. You think doing all that is going to prove something to me when it's not. I don't trust this organization with anything. I wouldn't trust them with a customary bathroom I could take in because I would think it would just preach to me about how black lives couldn't take in a bathroom. So let's have fun with the end of this video. For all the people that'll get mad at me and claim I don't support black lives, I'm probably somebody who says all lives matter. I'm probably somebody that says white lives matter. Isn't it funny that people like this BLM DC group and all these white allies and all these shuck-a-duck black people who get out of thin air and only talk about white people hurting black people, but don't talk about black people hurting black people because that's conservative talk, they don't want to answer where that $60 million went. I know where some of it went, but I want to know where the rest of it went, just so that I could have a deep understanding about why I never give these organizations any type of money, especially when I know they don't do jack for black people. So take all those funny little gotcha moments, stick them, and maybe in a couple years when black lives actually become something to care about again, maybe we'll trust you with some information. But until that time, subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all in the next one. The poster is back to being sideways.